Welcome to the Honest Podcast. This is AJ and Lauren, co-founders of Honest London. So today we're going to talk about bad work experiences that we've both had and the reason why we both decided to come up with Honest London. So as a gentleman, I'm going to get the ladies to go first. So Lauren, do you want to start off by telling everyone your worst work experience?
I mean, we're trying to keep this to 10 minutes, so Jesus.
Yeah.
Where do we even start?
We could be here for a very long
time. I mean, I think the one that stands out to me the most was I worked for, I'm embarrassed to even say it actually, an influencer PR agency. That is a thing, it exists. The reason I went there, I was just curious to see how it works because influencer marketing was becoming so big. I was a little bit guilty of not job hopping as such, but if I don't like people I'm working with, I will jump ship because I don't want to spend 40 hours of my life working with people I find insufferable. And so I think this one wonderful experience lasted, how long was I there, do you reckon? Like 3 weeks, 4 weeks?
I want to say at least about just over a month.
Yeah, I think I managed that. It was honestly the worst job I think I've ever had. And I've worked at the Mary Rose Museum, taking photos of people posing with Henry VIII, and I would have swapped it in a heartbeat back in the day. But yeah, it was an eye-opening experience. I did actually learn a lot for honest, for what we shouldn't be doing. But there's so many standout moments with that one agency. For example, the casualness of lying to a client. So on my second day there, I was asked to make up fake results because the results were just absolutely atrocious from what whoever I took over did previously. And the co-founder, who I don't have many kind words for, just simply said, make it up until they look good. And I just couldn't believe that they were just openly lying to these people who were quite honestly paying thousands for this work. And I just had to try and find ways to lie. So for example, on Google Analytics, they want to know how many people have been on their website. And a key thing they said was put page views and say it's the users. So page views, if you're not aware, is how many times people are clicking around. So naturally, they're going to get a lot of numbers through from that, whereas users is how many people entered the website. So quite a difference. There's normally about 4 times the number of the users. So just openly lying to these people. Another thing is that they kept the Google Analytics account separate to the clients. So the clients can actually look at what we're doing, which is just insane to me that it should be an open book. Clients should be able to see everything. And then one other thing there that really stood out to me was I was first of all asked to sit in the initial meetings to try and win clients, which I found very bizarre, seeing as I'd been there, as we know, less than 4 weeks. But one of them asked if we offer SEO, which that agency didn't. And they simply said, and they didn't offer it, but the co-founder next to me just went, oh, but Lauren here is our absolute SEO guru. What searches are you looking to get? And they said searches that I knew would be like easily 4 to 6 months to start really ranking high on. And she went, oh, yep, she'll get you there in a month. And I just remember sitting there kicking her ankle under the table thinking, oh my gosh, she can't promise that. And then as we walked away, by that point, I was like red patch galore, stressed to the max. And because I could tell he was going to sign and go with this agency because he wanted the PR side of him a lot. And I went, that's not possible. What you said about SEO is not possible as we left him. And she went, we'll worry about that once the dotted line is signed. So it was just a bit of an eye-opener to me that agencies will openly lie to potential clients to win and then worry about it afterwards. And from past experience with other agencies, it just seems to be a common trend. So I like to think me and AJ are very upfront. Like if someone comes to us with an insane request that we just don't think is realistic, we'll tell them, and we'd be willing to lose that client if it means we kind of keep our integrity.
I think that's shocking. I mean, that's where you lose transparency and trust in a client. And I think also it's bad for the brand not to question it, to be honest. I mean, when I was on the client side, I'd want to know exactly what I'm getting and actually having a realistic point of view. But then I suppose I've been an agency, so I kind of know what to expect. But to literally throw you under the bus in front of a client, A, is pretty shocking in itself.
Right.
But B, to lie to a client just for the fact, or for just, sorry, I can't even talk. Sorry.
Yeah, but I mean, what was shocking for me was what actually infuriated me was the fact that going forward, if I did stay around there, luckily I didn't stay there when they actually started working for them, so I don't actually know what would have happened with him, because I was the only one in that place that understood SEO. Didn't even consider that, whoops. But the professional relationship that would have diminished for me and that brand because of a selfish co-founder wanting money and willing to throw their own staff under the bus to make them look good just to get that money. Because the way it worked was quite interesting. They had 3 very, very big clients that were very long term who would keep the ball rolling, keep all the staff hired. And I think they saw these extra clients as kind of add-ons. And if they got them for a few months, it was a winner, bonus money. So they didn't care if it was working, if it wasn't working. And if it did, it was a benefit. It was so bizarre. But anyway, that's me finishing slagging off that wonderful place. How about you? Your turn?
Well, me, gosh, there's been so many. So I worked for an in-house organization, basically, where one of the biggest challenges was trying to understand what the bosses actually wanted. And I think when you're in an agency, you can sort of understand when your clients don't know what they want. But when you're working for the brand themselves and your bosses think they know what they want, but actually they have no idea, yet they're too afraid to tell you that they don't know what they want, you're kind of screwed, because your job essentially is to try and do the best you possibly can from a marketing and communications point of view. So isn't it terrible when bosses pretend that they know what they want, but actually they have no idea? And isn't it better for them just to say, actually, you know what, this is kind of where we want to go, but we don't know how to get there? It just makes your life easier. So I basically spent almost 1 year putting together plans, trying to execute them. And I just didn't get anywhere, because everything I did seemed to be wrong. And then when I went back to the core essence of where it was going wrong, it just appeared that the original brief didn't match what we wanted to achieve. So that's kind of one example. But I think bad experience wise, I mean, I've had, unfortunately, some really, really bad bosses that have felt threatened, bosses that haven't been collaborative, bosses that actually don't really understand what your job is about. And you end up just being a complete PA for them. So you can't really deliver what you're doing. But, I think for me, over the years, when I met Lauren, when we started this organization, we wanted to develop and create something that was going to be the complete opposite of the bad experiences we've had. And unfortunately, Lauren and I, both together when we worked together, had to deal with some blue ball agency doing lots of absolute rubbish. I mean, Lauren, I don't even want to go there, because I'll probably get really angry, and that's going to be so unprofessional. But can you just remind us what they did that was so poor, and what any agency should never ever do?
Yeah, I mean, like I think what happened basically when I joined, no one in the team, I mean, I don't think you'll be offended by me saying this, understood how SEO or PPC worked. I think when we had the initial meeting with this agency who did specialize in PPC, I think they were thrown off that all of a sudden there was someone on the team that called them out and was like, actually, that's not right. And I mean, it was safe to say, AJ, they hated me because I called them out straight away, because I'm just openly lying to AJ. And the way that I don't know what he is, but the way the founder was speaking to us, he was patronizing.
He was really arrogant, and he just thought he knew absolutely everything. But the thing is, between Lauren and myself, we have our strengths. Lauren has a set of expertise, and so do I, and that's why we complement each other really, really well. But he just did not give up, did he? He
was so rude.
Pushed and made me feel as though I had no idea what I was talking about, and made Lauren feel as though she was ridiculous in terms of what she was trying to say. But actually, it boiled down that everything Lauren was saying was absolutely on point.
Yeah, we managed to win the battle slowly and slowly pushed them out, and eventually the results did improve. But no, I mean, they're meant to be writing blogs, which quite frankly were unreadable. So one key thing to note is when you're writing blogs, it's very, very important to make it keyword rich. so they can rank. I mean, some of our highest traffic on Honest London website is our blog posts, and that's down to keywords. But what you don't want to do is make it so unreadable, because all you've done is just fill it with keywords, which is what these lot did. It was just awful. But no, they were really, really nasty. Their way of winning a contract seemed to be making the potential client just feel dumb and not knowing what they're doing, which we hated. I hated.
It's meant to be a collaborative approach. That's what you do. You're supposed to help your brand and you're supposed to help your clients. That's the whole point of it. And just that point on blogs. I mean, you know, I've had experiences as a freelance journalist. I mean, you know, writing about travel, writing about property for, you know, Metro, City AM, Telegraph, etc. But when you're writing editorial for a newspaper, that's one thing. But when you're writing a blog, it's still a story, it's still editorial, but there's just a way of writing something that's interesting. And I think when you are thinking about writing a blog, write it in a way that's going to be compelling for your audience. They want to read something that's going to be interesting, but you need to suddenly change a few of the words. You get your key points in, like Lauren says. So, you know, sometimes I'll write the blogs and I have no idea what the rich key point should be, but that's where Lauren comes in and says, this is great, just need to add these points in. And it should be really quite simple.
Yeah, it should be. And the thing with blog posts, it's very time consuming. That's why many people opt for an agency for it. But I actually think blogs are a great way to self-promote yourself on your website. I mean, for us, like where we're specializing in celebrity work, that's never going to be an easy place to rank on Google. But thanks to our our blog posts, we're now ranking on like search term 1 and 2 now when you Google like Celebrity Agency London, Celebrity Management London, which is fantastic. And from that, our organic traffic has gone up in the last 2 months by, I think it was like 40%. It's insane, just from these 2 search terms, which we would have been having to bid on through PPC. So not only that, it's saving us a lot of money. And that's just through the power of a blog post and just doing a few, pushing those certain keywords. So Google can essentially read our website and be like, oh, okay, well, that's what they're obviously specializing in. And where we do inbound links, which is very important, so link within your website, whenever we'd mention our celebrity offering, we would link it to our offering page. So Google can tie those together. And yeah, it's eventually really helped. So blog posts are very important. I don't know how we got on a tangent about blog posts from but it's good to know.
No, it's a good point. It's a good point. We were talking about terrible experiences, but also you've just reminded me when we did work together. I mean, I remember you specifically were told that blog weren't that important, and we both kind of looked at each other and thought, no, blogs are really key. It's it's what's going to drive that extra awareness. But this is my point again. It's when people think they know how to do things, but in reality they don't. And I think a lot of brands suffer that. I mean, some brands have been absolutely fantastic and transparent, have put their hands up and said, we don't know how to do this and we need your help. And that's what we're here for. But the struggle is when you get brands who think they know what they want to do, and actually you spend a lot of time going back and forth, and you end up going back to the same point again. You're at square one again. So what's the point? That's not going to help you. That's not going to help us. So we've been there. We've been around the block. We're not saying we're great at everything, but we know our strengths.
But no, I mean, like, I think what's key is that both myself and AJ are willing to still learn, which I think a lot of people, once they open an agency, have this issue. And within marketing teams as well, I've seen it. They just aren't willing to learn off other people, which I think is key. I mean, we currently have one client who's beyond lovely. We could say he's a TikTok star. And TikTok's new to us. And, me and AJ aren't within the age category of doing TikToks.
Well,
I would love to try. I think 10 years ago, I would have been all over it. But for me now, I think, my friends would enjoy watching those and ridiculing me. But TikTok is huge. And I've been trying to learn it myself, just in case a client does come across and wants to have help with TikTok, so we can try and offer it. And he's brilliant. Like, he's telling me all about it. He's teaching me. He's telling me all the tricks and tips, what it's all about. And, if I was one of these closed off agencies, we'd be missing out on an absolute expert on it. He's fantastic. I mean, he's a guru.
It's all about, you're right, it's all about learning. We should never stop learning, and we should learn from each other. And Lauren and I are the first ones to put our hands up if we've made a mistake, because
Yeah, absolutely.
we're not claiming we know everything, but we're here having had a lot of experience to be able to guide our clients and future clients to the right direction, and connecting our clients with our other clients where there could be a great synergy and collaboration, because that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I mean, I think just to conclude this little blog, I feel like this was more of a stress relief for us, really, getting off our chests. But I think overall, I think we've built Honest simply due to so many bad experiences. Of course, we've had many good experiences with great agencies as well, but the bad ones really do stand out, whether we've been in-house or client side. And we just want to build an agency on that. I mean, when we were discussing first doing Honest, our biggest thing was treating our staff well and treating our clients just as well. And I think we always said, talk to both like family, not hierarching our staff, patronizing, none of that. Just treating everyone like a family friend. And I think that's what we've been doing, and I like it anyway.
Exactly. The thing is, in a workplace, there's always going to be the odd career psychopath here or there, and nobody can escape that. But
no.
if you're not going to treat your family or your friends in that way, then why treat your colleagues in the same way? So I think for Lauren and I, it's imperative that for the people that work with us as part of the team, you work together. And it sounds cliched, I'm sorry, but there's a reason for the cliche, is that you want to get the best out of people.
Yeah.
And we'll work when we need to work, because we're here for our clients, but at the same time we're realistic to make sure that our team are looked after and we have a trusting environment. So I know lots of agencies say that, but come and work for Honest London and you'll find out we're really like. So there you go. To find out more about Honest London, check us out at honestlondon.co.uk.